The world's most powerful leaders are gathering on the Indonesian island of Bali to address some of the biggest challenges of our times. But Russia's war in Ukraine, the resulting global economic fallout, and regional tension may make it hard for the G20 to reach consensus. Leaders of the EU and 19 major economies are attending. And that includes Russia. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will represent President Vladimir Putin. A high-stakes meeting on the sidelines of the summit is grabbing all the attention, though. In the coming hours, Joe Biden will meet China's leader Xi Jinping in person for the first time as US president. Tension between the superpowers has reached an all-time high. Let's go live to Bali. Our diplomatic editor, James Bays, is there for us. So, President Biden's first meeting with Xi Jinping as president set to happen later. What time does that meeting get underway, James?
About 2.5 hours from now is when we're expecting that meeting to take place. President Xi, President Biden, the two most powerful men in the world, in the same room at the same time. As you say, Adrian, they've spoken many times before. They've met in the past before they did their current jobs. In fact, they both first met in 2011 when they were both #2 in their respective countries. But quite remarkably, because of COVID, since President Biden has been the leader of the United States for the last 22 months, they have not met. So this is going to be a very significant, very consequential meeting at a time when the relations between the two countries are pretty strained. Now let's look at the key issues that they're facing. The number one strain, perhaps, certainly in this part of the world for China, is Taiwan and the US's views on Taiwan and the US's policy towards Taiwan and the potential US defense of Taiwan. Particularly aggravated that relationship between the US and China after that visit from the US Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan in the summer. And that was something the Chinese were very, very angry about. I think the US will be saying, no, our policy has not changed in any way. But of course, you've got the midterm elections and the results still not clear. We may have a new speaker in Kevin McCarthy. And he's said one of his first things that he's planning to do is to go to Taiwan. So that is likely, I think, still to be a contentious issue going forward. The other one in the region that you can look at that I think is very important is North Korea, which has filed a record number of missiles this year, 86 missiles in 1 year, and there's talk that they may be planning a 7th nuclear test. The US believes that China can do a lot more to rein in North Korea and stop this, what it describes as provocative behavior. They believe they can deal directly with the North Koreans. They also believe that China could be more cooperative at the UN Security Council, where the US would like there to be tighter sanctions on North Korea. Now, the other issue is one that's not an Asian issue, but it is the biggest issue in the world. And of course, that's the war in Ukraine. There, China has not been totally supportive, as perhaps Russia would have liked, both diplomatically and militarily. It's not been supplying weapons to the Russians in large numbers that we're aware of. And certainly at the UN, it's only abstained on the issue of Ukraine and has not fully supported Russia even in the UN Security Council, where Russia vetoed and China abstained. But I think the Biden administration would like to see China be more outspoken about the war and about Russia's role in the war and in the invasion.
All right, James, for the moment, many thanks indeed. Our diplomatic editor, James Bays, there live in Bali.